The item Scribble Physics, we're going to work on this one. If you click on the plus and go to your default tile set here, in the item options, we have one that is called Item Scribble. This is going to be one that has a few different options for it. You have the option for the color that the scribble line produces, or just an image pattern for it. You have the item that you would be holding, and then you have the pattern, which can be color or pattern, and then the sparks that come while it's being drawn, and then your thumbnail. So we'll go ahead and place those in. Be sure to left click and select your image. On the tile type, let's go down to our tile type image Scribble Physics. So we'll say name, do item, and scribble. Alright, description, we'll say Scribble Physics. We'll turn off our receive light on it. We'll take our image. For the pickup on this one, we'll say it's going to be at the negative so the player walks in front. Animations will take to about 6. Let's choose our thumbnail image here. Colliders will turn off so that we can get to the trigger box. Going to go down to the tile animations. You could place one for the start if you want to have one inside of there, but we'll be using our item for the animations for the item pickup and then the item put down. The trigger settings, we're going to enable this one so the player can pick it up. And then default wise, we'll go ahead and just say it's the whole square for the trigger range where the player is going to be able to pick it up at. Alright, so we'll go ahead and go down to the lower part here. We're going to get down to our item. We'll say item, enable as item. Carry cost, again, we'll just say it's going to be 1. Default, automatically set it to a usable item and equip it when the player picks it up. We're going to have it as a separate of holder so that it's actually the 2 images. This will play its own animation going around. So when it comes to the animations, actually on this one, we've made it a little bit simpler. It's just a single frame. That way you can see how just a frame works with it. This one is just saying that once you pick it up, you have the item idle. This is going to be the same animation, or single frame, even if it's just one frame. It'll be used for all the different states of it. So instead of actually having a different state, if you want to just have an item that's just a single thing that runs an animation across it, then you can certainly do that. Alright, so we'll go ahead and finish off placing these inside of here. And if you were using this and you only put it in the first slot and you put it on the pickup item, it would actually still work because it's actually using a single image. The first time it gets called, if there's not something in one of these, the last thing that was called is what's going to be used. So it would just continue to show that same idle animation right there. Alright, and same thing for the audio if you had that. The carry and use directions, we're currently saying that all directions get used for it. Socket is going to be in the center of the player, so it's going to be set to 0 for the stand and the crouch. The depth, since we have an animation on it, we'll go ahead and say that depth will be at 1 right here. Joystick, again, default 8, and then we're not changing anything for the player. So the Scribble settings, when it comes to what can we do with the Scribble tool, this is going to be a physics-based and a static-based system. You can draw a line like you were painting, but you can also draw a line so that when you're done painting, it turns, if you'd make a circle, it becomes a wheel. You can push it around. You can set it for physics. You can set it for hit points. So it can have a lot of different properties and abilities inside the scene. The scribble for time, how long can you scribble? So if you want to make it so that they only have like a 2-second scribble and it actually stops. There's a distance. If you want to say how long can you actually draw in terms of distance, it might be you want them to draw 5 tiles, and that's as far as they can draw across the screen for each time they use it. There's a flash before it destroys, meaning that if there's a timer that's set for it, then you can actually say how long does it flash. The scribble ends by, and this is going to be saying that when you get done with your drawing, stay in place being static, or you say it becomes dynamic and it actually the physics is applied to it, or it just simply disappears. So you draw it and the moment you stop, it just goes away. So you have a few different ways of setting it. When you set these to 0, you're actually saying they're not part of the equation. When you actually add a value, if I say it's going to scribble for a certain amount of time, then it becomes part of the equation. So if I say it's going to be at 0, then it's just not being used for it. Alright, so that's going to be the Scribble options. The color, actually we'll go ahead and we'll do color and then we'll get into the rest of them in the next video. Is that the Scribble color itself, if there's a image being assigned, then you could say it's you can say white if you just want to use that actual color we have. If you don't though, you can set it, you can either override it. So if I wanted everything to be a dark black, then we could change it to that or to a specific color. Alright, so we'll finish off on the Scribble color there and then we'll start working on the rest of them next.